Before we get into anything, I want to quickly say that I am not a professional therapist, psychologist or anything. I need to put that out there as like a disclosure. I just want to say that I'm not a health professional. I'm not licensed to give any of this information. It's just purely my thoughts, what helped me, and not to be taken as medical guidance. Just wanted to put that out there in case I got into some shit for making this video. I don't know if I would, but I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not a medical health professional, and please seek help if you need it. Now let's get into the video. Okie dokie. Oh fuck, let me take this off. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. This one's going to be a little bit different than some of my other videos. More of a mental health sort of video. These are the type of videos I also wanted to put on my channel. Not just reviews and try-ons and stuff, but all sorts of different things related to life and helping people with their mental health and all that kind of stuff. So finally I'm putting out a video on mental health. I thought since May, which is this current month that I'm going to be uploading it, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I thought because May is Mental Health Awareness Month, I would finally do a video on mental health. I feel like it's the perfect time to do it. This is really tough for me to talk about because I myself struggled with depression, anxiety and depersonalization or derealization, sort of like both of them. I've gotten through my depression. That has been going for a while now, but I still pretty much struggle with anxiety and depersonalization a lot, but I cope with it really well now. This is the stuff that I hope to sort of help you with as well if any of you have these sort of issues. In that regard, it is a bit tough for me to talk about because I've never really talked about it to anyone else before aside from my psychologist and my partner. A little bit difficult, a little bit nerve-wracking, but I really want to do it, so here I am. So for this video, in regards to mental health, I thought I would talk about something that affects a lot of us mentally, one of the biggest things, and that's not loving ourselves. And that, oh my gosh, I'm messing up so much in this video. I thought I would talk about something in particular for mental health that affects all of us, and that is flaws, insecurities, and pretty much, more importantly, learning how to love yourself more. We are so hard on ourselves, guys. We are all so hard on ourselves, and it's actually ridiculous how much stress we put on our bodies and our mind without basically needing to. So let's change that. That's what this video is going to be, learning how to love yourself more. If you're enjoying it while you're watching, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to subscribe to support me and my content. I would really, really appreciate it. And I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Let's get into it. It's going to be a bit of a deep and meaningful video. So grab your cup of tea, your coffee, some snacks, whatever you want, and let's dive into how you can learn to love yourself more and how I learned to love myself more. So hopefully that can help you learn to love yourself more. Okay, let's get into it. Alright, so I've got all these notes here that I'm going to go over. I'm going to try and make it as short and as quick as possible, but we all know how that goes with my rambling, so... Alright, so let's start by talking about flaws and insecurities, because this is without a doubt like the biggest thing people struggle with. A lot of people struggle with is their flaws and insecurities. It's amazing how many people you see will just talk shit about themselves more than anyone else because they're just so insecure. And I was one of them as well, so yeah, that's why I know. So flaws, we all have them, whether we care to talk about them or not. There is always something that we don't like about ourselves. There's always something. That's a given. I mean, you might get those few people that absolutely, like, that have learned to love themselves. They're confident. They know how to bring others up. Like, they bring their positivity up because they're so positive. There's so many positives to like loving yourself and spreading that to other people. It's quite amazing. Pretty much impossible not to have insecurities. And that's not just physical insecurities. There's like mental insecurities. There's other types of insecurities rather than, oh, I have cellulite, I'm insecure about that. I have cellulite. Anyway, let's not talk about that right now. But my point is that it's not just physical, it can be other things as well. So for example, an insecurity might be afraid of public speaking. So if you have to do a speech at school, you're really insecure about maybe the way your voice sounds when you're talking. You're scared you're gonna Like, this was me as well. I had this insecurity as well. Not just physical insecurities that people have, but it's also like mental insecurities too. So we all have insecurities, all right? We all have flaws, we all have insecurities. Nobody is perfect. The thing I found though, since obviously our flaws are a part of who we are, is to literally just accept them for what they are and that they make us who we are. It's what makes you you. Like, and I know that's easier said than done, and a lot of people will say that. Just accept them for, and that's you, it's who you are. I know it's easier said than done, because that's what I used to get told all the time as well. But it doesn't matter what people say until you accept it for yourself, if that makes sense. I can tell you this right now, you just got to accept them. But it's obviously not as easy as that. You've got to do it yourself. You've got to go through that journey yourself of self-love. So that's where this whole thing begins, is you have to want to make the change to love yourself. I can give you all these tips and guidance and everything, but you actually have to implement them. I can't implement them for you. You have to want to love yourself. That's the big thing here. And that's something I realized as well, is I wouldn't learn to love myself until I fully accepted the fact that I wanted to love myself. I was stuck in this self-pity thing where I would just keep talking shit about myself, keep talking bad about myself, till I made that switch in my head, like, why am I doing this? Why am I talking bad about myself? I want to love myself. That's when I finally started that journey towards self-acceptance, self-love, and all that. So you have to want to make the change. That's with anything as well. Like, if you want to lose weight, you have to want it. No one can tell you to lose weight. You actually have to want to put in the effort to do it. Same goes with stopping smoking. Like, everything. It applies to everything. You have to make the first step and you have to want to do it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You have to accept your flaws and everything that you are with them for you to love yourself. So that's the first step. But let's actually define what a flaw is. The meaning of a flaw, and I'll put it on the screen as well under what Google says. So it means a mark, a blemish, or other imperfection which mars a substance or object. That's the definition of a flaw. But I can't stress this enough, is that nothing is perfect. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing is perfect. It's impossible to achieve perfection. So why bother trying? That's my question to you. If you're so insecure about your flaws and you've got all these insecurities, my question is, why are you so insecure about them? Do you want to be perfect? My answer to you is, you can't be perfect. No one can be perfect. No one is perfect. The definition of perfect is ironic, because literally no one is. My boyfriend tells me I'm perfect, and it's a lie, because I know I'm not perfect, but like, I accept that. I accept that I'm not perfect, and that's my message to you, is to accept that you're not perfect. And I'm not going to tell you you are, because that's a lie. Feed yourself these things like, I want to be perfect, or you can listen to other people saying you look perfect and all these things, but truth is, you're not perfect. No one's perfect. That's the hard truth, and I'm not saying it to be mean or anything, but I'm saying it as the truth and as an honest person. No one is perfect, so accept that, okay? So this is something that helped me become more confident with my insecurities as well. Like, that I realize that everyone is flawed. There's always a flaw in something, whether it's a person, a pet, your hair. You've got a grey hair, you've got a pimple on your face, you've got cellulite. That piece of clothing has a stitching out of place. That thing is supposedly level, but it's probably never going to be perfectly level. These are just all examples. To change my perspective, it was sort of like, so why should I care so much about why I'm flawed when everyone else is too? This is the big thing with like comparing yourself to others. You want to be perfect because you think someone else is, like you have to live up to what they are, sort of. But again, like, they've got their own flaws too, whether they talk about them or not, whether they try make them apparent or not, whether they cover it up with makeup or whether they hide it under their clothes or whether they hide it under their expression. If it's a mental insecurity, like, everyone has a flaw or insecurity. So my tip to you here is saying that everyone is flawed. Why should you change yourself to not be flawed when everyone else is also flawed? That's my tip, if that makes sense. I'm so sorry. This is the first time I've ever talked about anything like this to a bigger audience than like just my parents or my therapist or whatever. So if I'm coming across confusing, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do my best to explain everything that sort of worked for me, but if you have any questions or anything like that, please leave them in the comments below and I'll talk to you guys. So who the hell cares? Like, who cares? And if I say that and you answer, I care, I'm saying, why do you care? Like, why do you care so much? Because I want to be friends with that person, because I want that person to love me, because this, because that. No, stop looking at everything else and start looking at yourself. Start accepting yourself for what you are. And when you do that, you will find people who will love you for that and not your fake self, if that makes sense as well. I have always been insecure about my eyes. So if you look closely, I've got very veiny eyes, and do I care? No. No, it's not it's not what defines you. Okay, I need a brief intermission. Oh my god, talking makes your throat so dry. Let's get back into it. I have a little front crooked tooth, like this front one here is a little bit twisted. It's not perfect. I might smile right now and you go, you have a beautiful smile, but it's not perfect. I get a double chin a lot. When I talk, if you look from certain angles, I get a double chin. I get insecure about it as well. I don't like the way my breasts look. That's another thing. Obviously, I'm not going to show you that, but I'm sure every girl thinks that though. A lot of girls probably think that. I feel like I have a weird hairline. My hair is going really thin as well. I've got a lot of cellulite on my legs. Another thing is I'm so uncoordinated. Ask anyone I know and they'll tell you I'm uncoordinated. So much so that this really affected me at school. Whenever I had sport, I would purposefully act dumb in the game to show that I couldn't do it, because I was scared of letting down my team and my friends. I was scared of like what I would look like if I always kept falling over or missing the ball, kicking it or whatever. Now I realize that it's not about that. It's not about winning all the time. It's not about trying to win for your team. It's about you getting back up, keep trying, having fun with your friends. I'll always be uncoordinated, so I might as well embrace it and have fun with it for a laugh. Why not? Like, I'm always going to be uncoordinated. My partner gets the shits with it sometimes. Run into him or stub him on the toe or something like that, when that's just me. Clumsy of me. It's always going to happen. Can't change me. Just laugh about it and move on. Now these, like I said, these may be called imperfections in my eyes and not yours. For example, you might think you've got ugly hair and I think it's beautiful. For example, you might hate that you've got this dark black hair and I think it's like gorgeous raven black color. Like, I think it's amazing. So you might view yourself as flawed and other people might view it as beautiful, or they might not notice it. So remember that as well. It's like looking at a dress and loving it and your friend absolutely hates it. Know that you're not going to be right for everyone. This is where that quote comes into like beautiful, beautiful practice. You won't ever please everyone. You can't please everyone. It's impossible. Don't try. If you love that boy so much, you want him to like you and he doesn't like you back, you're just the dress that he doesn't like. That was a shit and mean reference, but what I mean is, can't try and perfect yourself for everyone, because you'll never perfect yourself for everyone. There's going to be a lot of people in this world who won't want to be friends with you, won't want to fall in love with you, and that's them. Like, you leave them, move on, find new friends, find someone else who will fall in love with you and will love you, because why would you want to try and get someone to like you if they're never genuinely going to love you for what you are and who you are? That's just fake. Why would you want that? So keep that in mind as well, okay? Not everyone is going to accept you for what you are, and in those cases, discard those friends or people immediately. The longer you keep them around and they don't accept you for who you are, they're always trying to change you, the more your mental health is just going to spiral downwards. So discard them. You'll find new friends. You'll find someone else to love. Move on. So those are my insecurities. Oh my god, this is so weird to talk about. All my like insecurities and like getting real with you all. Let's continue. There's no point in dwelling in the past. There's literally no point, only to make yourself feel shit. So don't do it. Feeling so embarrassed and ashamed of the flaws that make you you is no way to live. No matter how hard you try, you're never going to change your flaws without changing you. And why would you want to become something that you're not? I'll say it again. Why would you want to become something that you're not? So why are you trying to become something that you're not? Now, I wanted to clear this up because I know some of you people might be like this, or might think this, or might say this. Like, you might look at me and go, yeah, but look at you. look at me, what flaws? Or easy for you to say, I have acne or something like that. That isn't the point of this video. That's not the point I'm trying to get across. And if you're thinking that right now, you've interpreted my message wrong. Because my point is that everyone has flaws. No matter how small or seemingly insignificant those flaws are, everyone has them. And they might be, no matter how small they are, they might be extremely significant to that person. Like my eyelids, like, that is so probably insignificant to other people, but it's so significant to me. That's my point. Everyone has flaws, no matter how small they are, everyone's got them. And that's what I want to try and say as well. Even that beautiful person you think is perfect on Instagram, who looks like they've got the clearest skin, the most beautiful nails, the most beautiful hair and everything, they have got their own insecurities as well, their own flaws, whether they're mental or physical. And you just probably don't know about them, and you're just assuming that they are perfect when they're not. No one is perfect. Just remember that. No one is perfect. So yeah, look at me. I've got clear skin. Tick. Beautiful. Wonderful. I'm so blessed to have that. But I still struggled with something. Depression. Anxiety. I still struggled with things you would never have thought I would have struggled with. Don't think you know someone just by judging their looks. The same message as don't judge a book by its cover, because my God, that book is going to be so different to what the cover suggests. Please always remember that. Okay, so now that I've talked about insecurities, my insecurities, flaws, how you can sort of work through those, now let's talk about the actual ways you can learn to love yourself and sort of my tips and what helped me to learn to love myself. I need another break. Let's do it. Let's keep going. First tip. I'm sweating. First tip of loving yourself is to have fun by yourself. Stop always seeking that fun feeling with your friends, although that is good too, obviously, to spend time with other people. Company and friends are great, but to learn to love yourself more, try to have fun by yourself too. For example, go to the movies by yourself. I do this all the time, or when movies were open, I did this a lot. I love going to the movies by myself. I can eat my food without people asking for some. I can watch the movie without someone talking in my ear. Like, I love it. I love going to the movies by myself and spending time with myself, watching the movies that I love that other people might not like, things like that. Go get some food by yourself as well. Go to your favourite cafe, go to your favourite burger joint and have food by yourself. You don't need to take someone. Do it by yourself. Why not? You might meet someone there and talk to them, make a new friend. You might sit there eating your burger and just fall deep into thought about life and work and friends. You might make some really valuable insight. So, I don't know. You could give yourself a fun makeover without taking a friend with you. Running a bath, reading a book, going to the gym, meditating, doing all these other things by yourself just for a bit of me time. Sometimes you need to give yourself a break from your friends, your partner, from other people. You just need to be by yourself and you need to reflect on your things yourself. Make sure you incorporate that at times in your life, because everyone needs a little me time sometimes. I did not mean that in a naughty way, but you know what I mean. You need to learn to have fun by yourself to love yourself more. It's a great way to sort of just take some me time and enjoy the things that you love without sharing that with other people. Just keep it to yourself for once and just, yeah, you know? Anyway, I know, because I've done it. I've had fun by myself and it's great, okay? Just try it. The next part of loving yourself is to forgive yourself. This is a huge one, so listen carefully. It's easier said than done, of course, when I say forgive yourself. That is, it's much easier said than done. It's really hard to forgive yourself. Depending on what it was that you did, it's hard. It's really hard to forgive yourself. I know this for a fact because I find it so hard to forgive myself when I do things as well. I'm always so hard on myself in that regard. I'm slowly starting to learn to just let things go, and it happened, you can't change it, it's in the past. My point here is to reflect on some of those poor decisions you've made in your life, forgive yourself for them, and move on. Live in the now. Accept them, accept what they taught you, because that's normally what these things do, forgiving lessons, like they're lessons in life. They've taught you now when you made that mistake, you're probably never going to make that mistake again, are you? You've learned from it and move on. That's all you need to do, is just accept that you did it. It's in the past. You can't change it. Why dwell on it when it happened, and you can't change the fact that it happened, when what you can do is change it from never happening again, changing how you respond in the future. When you forgive yourself for things that you've attached yourself to in the past, you really improve your self-worth and your love for yourself. There's no point mulling over a mistake because you can't change it. It's as simple as that. You can just learn from it and move on. It'd be awesome if we had a time machine to do that, but we freaking don't. So why dwell on it and to make yourself suffer from that? Why do that? Just accept it, learn from it, and move on. Can't go back there physically. The past is a place you go with your memory and not physically. So you have to forgive yourself. You'll continue to dwell on it forever. So, oh, it's raining. Yes. It hasn't rained here in a while. This is awesome. The next tip I have for improving your self-love is to journal and give yourself credit for things. Why am I sitting like sideways? Comfortable. I need a break. Let's stretch the legs. So the next, since doing my 6-minute diary, which the video I'll link for like where I got it first and everything, I'll link it up here wherever it is. Since writing down my thoughts and my feelings and everything, which isn't something I've never actually really done before, like journaling, I've learned to love myself so much more. Journaling is a great way to reflect. That's all. That's full stop. It's a great way to reflect on things that happened during the day, things that you're proud of, what made you happy, what made you grateful. It's just a great way to self-reflect, and it kind of makes you so much more aware of these little things that you would never normally notice. It's also a great way to rid your mind of negative thoughts and emotions by really just getting them down on paper. It's sort of like talking to a therapist. You're writing it down, you're like reading it back to yourself. It's really comforting and reassuring to do that. It sort of makes you feel like you're taking the weight off your shoulders when you write it down. I really recommend it. Coping with your feelings that way, I think it's really powerful. I also love writing down what I accomplished for the day, the week, the month, the year. Like I said, that this isn't just about journaling, it's also about giving yourself credit. Giving yourself credit, it makes you love yourself even more, because you take note of your achievements and what has helped you improve yourself as a person, what's helped make you get to your success, what little things about you and what you've done. You should feel good about them. You shouldn't rely on other people to say to you, well done. You should give yourself that sort of credit. If you're always going to depend on other people saying to you, good job, keep going, and giving you credit for things, and you're not giving yourself credit for them, you're always going to rely on that, and it's always going to, and when they don't give it, you're going to get upset by it. So let's say you scored good in a test at school, come home to tell your mum, and your mum says, oh, good job, sweetie, and sort of like not really listening, focusing on cooking, and you don't get that feeling of achievement that you thought you were going to get from her. In that moment, you don't get upset by it, because maybe she's got a lot on her mind. You've got to think about the other person too. She might have just had a really shit day for some reason, I don't know. You can't get angry about like, why aren't you more happy for me? So just go, okay, walk away, think to yourself, I'm proud of myself. I did that good in that test. It's going to really help me with my grades. It's going to help me with the future job that I want to get. I feel good about it, and that's all that matters. Don't seek credit from other people ever. If they give it, that's awesome, but don't ever seek it, because like I said, you'll always depend on it and you'll get upset when you don't get it. Give yourself credit when you accomplish something. And journaling is good for that. Writing down your accomplishments, keeping them locked in that paper for the next time to look at, and you can look over them at the end of the year and be like, wow, I did that. Wow, I did this. Look how much I achieved in the year. Writing those down, those accomplishments, makes me feel good, continues to push me towards future goals, like pumps myself up to keep going. Pretty much just focus on the positives, no matter how small. When you're journaling, just focus on little things. Like if you can only write down one accomplishment, just still write it down for the day. Like, I got up out of bed, yay. Getting out of bed is a huge accomplishment, so write it down. If you found it really hard to do it and you still did it, good job, write it down and remember that you did it. Or it could be like, I took my dog for a walk today, or I got in a 30-minute walk or exercise or workout or whatever. Give yourself credit for the things you do. Be proud of yourself. Don't seek praise from others. Give it to yourself and you'll always be happy. The next, I don't know, this is third, fourth, whatever, I don't know. Learn to say no. This is a tough one, especially for me. But saying no is totally okay. Now, like I said, it's a tough one for me because I'm always someone who will be like, oh, no worries, yeah, I'll do that. I can't say no a lot of the time, like I won't be able to say no. It is totally okay to put yourself first. Look after yourself and base your decisions on you for once rather than what other people want. The point here is to not regret it after, okay? So if someone's telling you, please come out for the night clubbing, we need you to pick us up so we can go out. They're depending on you for something. See what I did there? So if you say no, and they're like, oh, please come on, and then you still say no, you stay true to yourself, you're not feeling well, maybe you want to stay home and work on a special project and you don't want to go out for the night because you've got other things you want to do. If you feel in your heart you just don't want to go, you want to say no, say no. Say no and don't regret it after. That's the key thing here, is no regrets. You're like proud of yourself to say no because you're doing something for yourself instead of for someone else. You're putting yourself first, and that is so good for your health. Let me tell you now, it is so good for your health, your mental and your physical health, really, to put yourself first and focus on what you need rather than the needs of others. Feel happy that you had the power and the control to say no. Feel proud of yourself because it is really hard, I know. Care about yourself just as much as you do for others, or even more. Care for yourself just as much as you care for others, or even more than you care for others. Because when you start putting people up here and you're all the way down here, your mental health is gonna go to shit. You will never do things for yourself. You will be living someone else's life, essentially. Never let yourself become the lesser person. Why should you? Why should you be lesser than that person? Why should your friend have more power over you than you have over you? That's manipulative and controlling. You should never let them do that. And if you have friends like that, get rid of them. And if you're worried about appearing selfish or needy, don't be. Again, that's regrets after. You feel selfish, you feel needy, you feel like you're putting yourself first instead of your friends, so you feel like shit. Don't. I learned this the hard way, of never putting myself first and never sort of feeling happy. I was always just sort of doing what was best for other people rather than myself, and that just ruined me. So don't do it, please. Live for yourself and not for anyone else. And say no. Always say no if you feel like you want to say no. Don't let anyone tell you different. The next one is to learn to be grateful more. Okay, I can't stress enough how much this helped me get through my depression. Being grateful is an amazing thing. Gratitude is an amazing thing. It is the single most tremendous thing that helped me get through depression. Being grateful. The key here is to appreciate everything you have and not what you lack. That is I read that somewhere. That is the biggest thing. Appreciate what you have and not what you lack. No matter how hard your life is, always seeing things that are positive will help bring you out of that tough time. I know everyone's story is different. I know some people have gone through much worse depression than me. Self-harm, suicidal thoughts, all these different things. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying like being grateful will magically cure it for you or anything like that. I'm just telling you what helped me, okay? Remember that. I'm just telling you what helped me. Maybe you're in an abusive relationship and you could be depressed that way. In that regard, that's not something I can help you with. That's completely different to what I'm talking about. The abusive relationship needs to be dealt with in a different way. Being grateful is obviously not going to magically fix that, because that is a whole nother issue in itself. So that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm just talking about in terms of loving yourself more, because that's what this whole point of the video is to learn to love yourself. So learning to love yourself more, one of the key things that helped me to do that is to be grateful. Being grateful for the things that you have and not what you lack. That's what the 6-minute diary helps with as well. It always tells you to wake up and write down 3 things that you're grateful for. Being grateful for the little things, like it could be the sunshine warming my face in the morning, my family there to support me, my warm comfy bed. Being grateful really taught me to look at things much more positively than negatively, instead of getting so much more angry at my partner every day. Be more focused on the fact that he was there with me every day, that he was healthy, that I had such a loving partner that stood by me through all those issues that I went through, and just being grateful in that regard. Whenever you're feeling angry or sad about something, look to the positives. It's That's all I can say. No matter how hard you want to feed those depressive thoughts, don't feed them. Feed your positive thoughts. I know that's a weird reference, but don't let yourself tumble into that despair of bad negative thoughts, because that's what I went through, and that's what made me worse and worse. It's just always thinking these depressive thoughts and making myself, they weren't my thoughts. They were my thoughts, and this is what my therapist taught me, by the way. There are your thoughts and there are the depressive thoughts. When I'm feeling upset and angry and all those things, which thoughts are louder in that moment? And of course they were the depressive thoughts and the angry thoughts and everything. They weren't actually my thoughts. So when I switched that, I went from feeling shit about myself and everything to, hang on, those aren't my thoughts. Let me bring myself up and with my real thoughts saying, you are strong, you are healthy, you've got a loving family, you've got your head under a roof, you've got a job, you've got food, you've got all these things, and this would just come down like this. So yeah, can you see what I mean in that regard? Feeding your positive thoughts, being grateful will help you so much to get through a really tough time. Trust me. The next one is to learn to trust yourself more. A lot of us don't trust ourselves enough. My point here for this one is to stop depending on others for trust and start learning to trust yourself more. Basically, listen to your gut feeling, speak out on your thoughts if you feel they are right, that are building up inside your head, and just trust how you're feeling. If something doesn't feel right, trust yourself. So just learn to trust yourself more. Trust that gut feeling. Something doesn't feel right, something's not you. Don't do it. Break. Stretch. Why am I so sweaty? It's like I'm nervous to talk about this, but I'm just sitting in my room talking to a camera. So the next one, moving on. This video is going to be so much longer than I had planned for it, isn't it? I just have so much to talk about. The next one is self-care. Self-care is key. How can you love yourself if you're not caring for yourself? If you love someone, you care for them. If you're not doing that to yourself, you don't love yourself. So to help become the best version of yourself, you need to care for yourself. This is the key that opens the door to loving yourself. Self-care might be anything that you feel like you're caring for yourself, you're nurturing your needs. Like, it could be listening to music that makes you happy and blissful. Could be taking a hot shower and rugging up in some nice comfy clothes afterwards. It could be lighting some candles and having some cheese and wine, performing mindfulness exercises and meditation, getting outdoors for a walk or hike, going to get your nails done, if that's what you like. Anything else that makes you, your body and your mind happy. So make sure you give yourself some self-care, because when you care for yourself, you love yourself. Okay, I'm nearly done, I promise. If you're watching up to this point, thank you, and I hope it's helping you. Let's keep going. Almost done. Last one is, this is the biggest one of all time. It's to be yourself no matter what. I mean, no matter what, you be yourself. If you're being someone you're not, ask yourself why. Why are you being someone else? Is it the type of friends you hang out with and what they do? Then it's time to find friends that resonate with your true self. Simple. Are you in an office job, but your true passions are to be an artist? You're not giving yourself that satisfaction that you need to feel fulfilled in life. Key here is to be yourself. You need to be yourself in all aspects of life to be happy with yourself and to love yourself. When you're being someone you're not to just please other people, again, your mental health is going to suffer a lot. My recommendation here is to make sure you surround yourself or be with people who encourage you to be yourself. Don't be with friends or a partner who don't appreciate or love you for who you truly are, because you're just asking them to love a fake version of yourself, and that's not real. And the important thing here as well is to let go of things that do not encourage you to love yourself and be yourself. If you're getting encouraged to do the opposite of that, to nurture relationships and perspectives of yourself and other people that aren't real, that aren't nice, that aren't genuine, that aren't going to make you feel fulfilled in life, then you're wasting your life. There's no point. You're living a life that's not yours. All these memories you have when you get older aren't going to be yours. They're going to be other people's, because you lived as someone you're not. Wow, this is getting really deep. Oh, I'm crying. This is so hard to talk about. Anyway, those are my tips. Learning to love yourself is a long and difficult journey. It comes from deep within. It's not easy. Like I've struggled for so long, but I've finally found self-love and a self-acceptance. When you don't have self-love, you might be suffering from severe depression like I did, or crippling anxiety like I did, like I do. I still suffer from general anxiety, but I'm cope with it really well now. When you have positive thoughts, emotions and responses to negative situations, you have a much stronger mindset, and not only that, the potential to spread that positivity to other people and help bring them up. So it just flourishes. When you're positive, it spreads. It's amazing what it does. Looking at things more positively rather than negatively will drastically change the outcome of things. Same goes with self-love. But I hope these tips helps you to love yourself a little bit more, at least, or help push you on that journey to loving yourself. I feel like self-love is potentially the biggest thing that can save someone from depression, depending on the circumstances, of course. But all it is accepting yourself for who you are, having a positive self-image regardless of who you are and what you look like, and having self-respect. It really comes down to those three things. And I know that the results of me learning to love myself more has led me to do so much more with my life, like having the confidence to start a YouTube channel and talking to people. Streaming, for example, when I was doing video game streams, that was a huge thing as well. And having the confidence to do that was not something I could have ever done before. I wish I started a YouTube channel 5 years ago, but never had the confidence to do it. I've learned to love myself, to accept myself. It's led me to here. Anyways, that is it for this video. I'm sure I haven't edited it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be freaking long. If you did watch the whole thing, be sure to give it a like if you enjoyed it. If you need any more inspiration for this sort of topic, like if you need some more inspiration for your mental health or motivation or anything, you can watch some great videos on YouTube and read some great articles online that actually helped me to get through my depression and everything. These also helped me to understand the meaning of self-love more clearly, and they can probably help you as well. I'll quickly say in one of the videos, which I'll link below, she mentions that positive emotions can actually strengthen the integrity of your heart and your arteries. That is amazing. I mean, it makes sense because when you're feeling so sad, depressed and upset and everything, it sort of feels like your heart is actually hurting, and in a way it's making it weaker. So when you're positive, you're making it stronger. So that's awesome knowledge. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched all the way through, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Let me know if you want me to do more videos like this, like on mental health. I'll try and make those ones shorter. I felt like there was a lot to cover in this video. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more videos on mental health. I definitely have a lot to share about it that I feel can help you guys. So let me know if you want more videos like this, such as how I cope with my anxiety, or my anxiety story, my first signs of anxiety, depersonalization and what that is, how I got over my depression, and things like that. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one.